It's obviously a bit of a shock of project that I'm here. I come to Montreal once in a while. But I missed a regular trip because I was racist in New York. I've been trying to make since Tavshin Lamed approximately. I do things late anyway. So Shabbos racist. There's many times that Shabbos racist came out right after Simchas Torah, and it was Friday was Simchas Torah. Shabbos racist was right afterwards, so I couldn't get from California to New York. That I couldn't get. It looked nice when we start talking. Shabbos to go traveling, and I looked at nice. So it ended up that I came for Parshas Neach. This year up here at Shachar I couldn't make it for Parshas Neach either, so it ended up Parshas Lecha. I had other commitments over here to be here for Shabbos. I was also at Shabbos in 70 before coming over here to make my pilgrimage. When I came here to Montreal, I looked downstairs. I haven't been here for a while. And I saw what do they call downstairs? The high school system, whatever it's called. I took a look over there, and I had never seen this. Last time I was here, between the elementary school and the Zal, probably 150 meters. Between the elementary school and the Zal together. Probably 150 meters maybe. Upstairs maybe it was on there were 60 guys in a room that didn't exist last time I was here. The Nile of the high school tells me when das ist alles noch Himmeltam. Because as I said, I stopped in 770 on Thursday night. My plane came in, I slept, I had a hit. Finally I got to 770 at 1 o'clock in the morning. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, there was 100 chevron. It was 770, got in the Chabrach, got in the Gelen, got in the Baal like it. Whatever it was, at least there was 100 or more chevron in 770. Many of who were consulars in California. And there was a meeting for Maidim almost immediately at 1 o'clock in the morning. It didn't take too long to put together 6 to 10 people in Ken Maidim in Sudan. And they was thinking of why I started coming on Shabbos Bereishis in New York. Why did that become the Yom Tov? Somebody wants to listen to it anyway because he gave me the mic tonight. And what the outcome of it is, and that statement that this person made to me as was that's an outcome. All of these things are after being accomplished. Whatever when it began as a Messias started off that we're the Dead Ashvi, first was Lagan. We're the Dead Ashvi, and we are the Dead of Mashiach, called Ashvi and Chavivin, the Dead of Mashiach. In essence, this is what the Maimon said. And whatever at that time when we accepted the Messias, that we called Achnis Leitin Kepegel Chembuzim. I don't know how many of you have ever heard that expression. It's a Yiddish expression. But don't think that you got it made already. I accepted the Messias. You got it ever. Now you're going to relax. The time that we have to see bring Mashiach, and the other end of that flood, and everybody has to work at it, and so on and so forth. The first Mamish, so Tafshin Yud Aleph, or Yud Shvat, Tafshin Yud Aleph, first Mamish that happened. So Bislach in the beginning years, that ever since Shluchim here, there, I came to Yeshiva to learn in Yeshiva in Rosh Hashanah Tafshin Yud Zayin. When I came to Tafshin Yud Zayin, the Shabbos and Avrohom Farbrengen were in the Zal upstairs in 770. You walk into 770, the Zal to the right. I don't know how many Bochum are sitting there now learning. In my days, we were overcrowded. We reached 42 Bochum. That was in both rooms together over there. They said the Zal and the Sheni. Gan Levitansky of Crown Heights, whoever was left in Bronzeville, whoever walked in from Borough Park, Shabbos and Avrohom, fit into the Zal upstairs to Tafshin Yud Zayin and a Tafshin Yud Tes. By one of the schools in California, he was a kid at 5-6 years old at that time, and walking to the Zal to the right, there's 2 doors over there that are always locked to go into the America's office. There used to be a table that all the kids stood on. All the kids that came to Farbrengen sit on one Zal table in the back. There was room for the table and for the kids to stand over there. And Gan Levitansky of Crown Heights, Bronzeville, Borough Park, surrounding area, all of them fit into the Zal upstairs. The years Tafshin Yud Zayin and Tafshin Yud Tes. I mean to say, the Zal upstairs is about another half the size more than all of these tables are together. One more time on it, maybe not even that much. Thank you about it. Of Zayin, when I got married with this, approximately maybe 25 or 30 shluchim that the Rebbe had sent out at that period of time. How do I know that it was approximately 25 or 30 shluchim? Maybe less. At the Shluchim's convention, Tafshin Nun Hey. No. Shluchim's convention, Tafshin Nun Hey. They call every year, but I'll never forget this one. They call a roll call. All the Shluchim from Alabama, please stand up. All the Shluchim from California, all stand up. He goes through everything from A to Z, and he finishes up with Zanzibar. And he's Zanzibar, stand up. And he tells everybody hold their applause till the end. No question, who's going to listen? So, Alabama, stand up. Right, Massachusetts, stand up. California. By the time you finish, all the states, all the countries, what is everybody doing? Everybody's talking. You know, how many? Then Rabbi is calling the roll call. Says, I want everybody's attention for another 3 minutes. Please give me your attention for another 3 minutes. And shockingly, the place got quiet. I don't know how it happened, but shockingly, the place got quiet. They're talking on the 189, 768, 100 shluchim. In another, the place got quiet. It starts out, those who left on shlichus after Tafshin Nun Dalet, please stand up. After Gimel Thomas Tafshin Nun Dalet, almost 75 guys stood up. Those who left on shlichus after Chav Zayin Adar, Tafshin Nun Beis, stand up. Another 75 guys or more stood up. He said there was about 750 short men. 300 of them, 150 of them, had left after Chav Zayin Adar, Tavshin Nun Beis, until Tavshin Nun Daled. Then it kept on going back. Those who left after Tavshin Nun, those who left after Tavshin Mem, those who left after Tavshin Lamed. By the time we reached those that left after Tavshin Lamed, I think I was one of the only few. In other words, all of those that had left from Tavshin Lamed had stood up already. I was one of the few that were left seated. The guy standing next to me was not much younger than me. I remember how he took a look at me. You left before? What? Yeah. Shocked. Because in my days, the concept that the Rebbe had established in going on shlichus was still not accepted, unfortunately. Tavshin Chav Zayin, by 99%, I hate saying this, 99% of Anash did not accept it. The word in the street was that guys are getting married, Baruch Hashem. They had time. There was almost 50 boy guys a year that were getting married. And they don't have what to do. And they have Rachmanos on it. They can't be businessmen because they're a bunch of schleppers. And how many kids are there that you can teach? Crown Ice. So the Rebbe therefore concocted this idea of shlichus. I know it sounds funny that I'm saying this, but this was the truth. This was what was in people's heads. So those shlimazolim, they can't go into business, and they're not crackerjack teachers, and therefore they're not hired by these ships, not by these ships. And they can't do anything. Whatever thought of this great idea, he then gets them out of the city, makes a big deal about it, and sends them on shlichus. Who's going to go on shlichus? If that means to say you're admitting that you're a shlemazel, you're admitting you can't make it. That's very nice. So, besides a few Mishagoyim as myself, from the years Tavshin Yud until Tavshin Chav Zayin, there was maybe 25 to 30 shlichim that were out, mamish in the whole world at that period of time. These are one of the first that was a shliach under somebody else, shliach a shliach. I believe I was one of the first, if not the first one who did it. This concept was so strange to anybody. Not only are you a shlimazel and you're going actually, but you're not even, and they're not even getting your own state. They're not even getting your own city. You understand? This is not shlimazel, puna shlimazel. I fit that category very well. As well known that today, Baruch Hashem, in California, there's pretty close to 150, 200 shulchan. I don't know how many exactly, but somewhere around that area in California alone is today that many shulchan. How we go? Anyway, very quickly, when I when I went on Shlichus, and I'll leave the story of how I ended up going on Shlichus for later maybe, because I think it's important for everybody to know what the Rebbe's criteria was. But I'll leave that for a minute. When I went on Shlichus, came over to me and heard that I was going to California. Was first in California. Gave Shlichus. First in California. Yezog b'si in Zech Hadoshim b'si. That's not going to happen. Anyway, to make a short story long, a week after my Shabbos brachas, I was in California. I got married Chodesh Elul, had a week of Shabbos brachas. The next week, first month Elul, I was in California. Sukkot, after having a very unique experience on Sukkot, which we won't get into. Rabbi Kunin told me, we got to go to New York for some custodian. I was just married. In those days, tickets cost almost as much as they do today. It cost $200-300 to go to New York. But the difference is that $200 in those days, $210 in those days, was like today, at least $1,000. Closer to $1,500 today, in today's money. To give you an idea, the apartment that I lived in when I moved to California for $90 a month now costs $1,500 a month. You can imagine that $200 in those days was like between $1,000 and $1,500. Well, it would cost just for one person to go would be a Gvalden honey. 2 people to go would be impossible. I could not take my wife. I was married literally a month and a half or so, for a month and 3/4 since the data comes around. If he did, you don't leave your wife so fast the first year, let alone the first month, you understand. It's not exactly but I wasn't very religious. Rabbi Kunin says, you're coming, if you don't go now, you'll never go. So I got on a plane with him on a Shiner Rabbi, and we came to Seder, and I come in and I see this Siddish Yid. He tells me, I told him, no, you don't understand. I came back from the say, it's after you're looking at the place is there. Okay, I understand, it's okay, you don't have to give any excuses. Telling that story to emphasize the fact of where people's minds were at that period of time. Whatever it may be, the next year since I stayed again, I came to New York. The next year, we started a Chabad house in Westwood. This was the first true Chabad house of the world. What I mean by true Chabad house, the Rebbe Ersten Toshin Men's really was Masber, Bus Hay, a base Chabad. And the Rebbe was Masber, I mean, it was this all the time, but the Rebbe really never spoke about it at a Farbrengen publicly. As a base Chabad, the base is first the house. A bias house. What two dimension ahoy? Esten ahoy, Schlochten ahoy, a Letten ahoy, a Davn ahoy, he gets stuck in ahoy. He does everything. But he includes in this eating and sleeping. Taka, the eater of the house has to be that you have to daven in the house, you have to learn in the house, and you have to give stock in the house. But 2 other things that normal people will do, and probably most shluchim don't do that because they never get home, but the normal mentioned that in Sunday night is that they have to eat and they have to sleep in the house. So So the Rebbe was masbir that a Beis Chabad is a place that provides the needs for any Yid. If he needs to come in and talk, if he needs to come in and he needs stucca, if a Yid needs to daven, if a Yid needs to learn, if a Yid needs something to eat, if a Yid needs something to sleep, a place to sleep, it's provided by a Beis Chabad. Not a yeshiva, not a shul, it's not a shul and a yeshiva, which, Baruch Hashem, there are plenty of those things over the world that Chabad that were established, but a place that everybody should feel it's their home. They feel at home over there. And you need somebody to talk to, he's there. You need something to eat, it's there. You need a place to sleep over, it's there. By the way, in the almanac, there's a Jewish almanac that's sent out to travelers. One of the things that says there, if you're traveling, your best bet is contact Chabad. If there's any Yiddishkeit anywhere, it's going to be by Chabad. This is an almanac, not made by Chabad. Believe me, it's too orderly, it's too well written. If you need a place to eat, you need a place to sleep, you need a place to be for Shabbos. If there's anything around over there, you should know it's going to be a Chabad house. You may find other places, there's other things, but the Chabad place you're going to find, if there's any trace of a Yiddishkeit, Chabad is going to be over there. That's in today's day and age. I once got a telephone call about 6 years ago. Where's the Chabad house in Stockton? Stockton is a place in Northern California that's between Ritz and Pitts. It's not on the map. I happen to know where Stockton is because it was in the newspaper because there was a shooting in Stockton. And it was never in a public school. So of course that made news. Up in California, the city Stockton made the news. Otherwise, it's a mitten, gorgeous. There's nothing over there. So I told him, in Stockton, I don't think there's no Chabad in Stockton. I got your insight. I got to be in Stockton, and there's no Chabad. Plus, hey, there's a start in the middle of Yehupitzville, and there is no Chabad over there. It doesn't make any sense. I told him, plus, 20 years ago, there wasn't the Chabad house in the world. It was actually saying that there was nothing in the Chabad. Anyway, whatever it may be, when we established Chabad house, we did something that was never done in Lubavitch before, at least we knew, and that was that we decided that Rabbi and myself and Rabbi Shulman at that time that for Simchas Torah we're going to stay in California in the Chabad. The first year of the house, we established it. We weren't going to leave for Simchas Torah. Everybody comes to Simchas Torah, they go to the Rebbe. What's Simchas Torah not by the Rebbe? The Rebbe. We open this display across the street from UCLA. Students are coming. They don't know what a Simchas Torah looks like. They don't know what it's all about. Because Hasten, he comes to Simchas Torah. And one guy goes, why should this guy go and the other guy not go? I'm a Muslim. I'll again bleiben. It was such a hot sveik that you have no idea. We were not our mind. It was an unbelievable Simchas Torah. Gotta admit that. But Hasten, then by Simchas Torah, Motzei Simchas Torah, I went to Jordan. And I decided, that's it. I'm going for Shabbos Gracious. And I got myself a ticket. They said it cost a good $300. That time was, I don't know how much money, just for Shabbos Gracious. Thursday night, we were going to go for Shabbos and come back. I was hoping to be able to go to the Yechidus Sunday night. And we were going to come back Monday, back to the real today practice, believe me. Had to be totally out of your mind to do something like that. Not that way. I got on a plane, I go in for Shabbos Gracious, I come in, I'm greeted. Jetzt kommst du da! Als Außer Schenariber kommst du da! Was bist du Simchas Torah, bist du nicht Roshig an den Zugit, Simchas Torah bist du nicht gewählt, jetzt kommst du da! Everybody I saw. I told him, hey man, I come here to pack up all the goodies. They say Shabbos gracious, pack me in the Peklach, and you go back. You guys work from El and you got the Tishrei, you had a stoop and everything else. So they get all the merchandise. I come for Shabbos gracious. I pick up all the merchandise ready. I ate the salt fingers already. I put it in the suitcase and I'm taking it back to California with me. Ha ha ha. Okay. Shabbos gracious being in heaven. I revived myself a little bit. A little bit I revived myself, charged up the batteries a little bit, as we used to say it. And Sunday night is going to be Yechidus. So I give in my name to go into Yechidus. I used to go in front of you in the letters, it was enough. So I used to go in front of my letters every year. In those days, I used to go in for the letters. Whatever, for Yechidus. Of course, I missed it. No, so I give my name. In the meantime, I figure, could be that Ed will ask me something about what happens. So I better write in a duch. So I write in a small duch of what happened and I send it into the office. Of course, there's something that I knew that I wasn't going to let anybody know that I knew, and I wasn't going to ask anybody anything, and that was that those that were going into Yechidus after Yom Tov, this was a rule in those days, were only those that were by the Farbrengen Simple State. If you were by the Farbrengen Simple State, you had the right to go in Yechidus. If you weren't by the Farbrengen Simple State, you didn't have the right to go in Yechidus. So I rationalized that I'm not going in for Simple State. I'm going in for Vayim Aletis. There was enough. I missed Vayim Aletis. Enough. Yes. It happens to be as there's nothing to say. Aber es ist nicht Anyway, I give them my name and I go over to Label Groner and I tell him I want to go in, and there's people that want to go in, and Label's going crazy because he doesn't want to take up his time. He makes me swear up and down on 14 secretaries that I'm going to go in for a minute. It's all, I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to ask them anything, just a bracha, araina, right? Just going in. I miss my email letters. I want to go in now. I didn't tell him I wasn't by the Farbrengen Simple State, right? And anyway, he agreed. He let me do it. So I write down a line and a half, asking the Rebbe for a bracha for atzlocha in the work in general, release time, and Beis Chabad, and a bracha for myself, my wife, and my kids. A line and a half. Unfortunately, none of you have probably ever seen how that Rebbe used to read it, except in the kids. The Rebbe used to take the settle and he used to roll it between his fingers like this, and like pages did. He read those letters like I read the stars. Read 5 pages, took him a half a minute. You roll it between his fingers, bingo. Yeah. He's holding my settle. He's reading. A line and a half. And he's reading. And he's reading. And he's reading. And I'm standing there, and I am shivering. Saying to myself, could I write that bad? How bad could I write it? I write sloppy, but when I write the Rebbe, I try my best, and I know how fast the Rebbe reads the letters, and he's sitting there, and he is reading. It wasn't much, it was a minute. By me, that was hours. That was hours, because what is taking everything on there? I think 10 seconds. 15 seconds. 20 seconds. He wants to do about this, the other day. He takes, he puts down a letter, he looks over it. Then this is Dr. Kuhlman. Our Shabbos could have been Friday like I came. My Shabbos could have been Monday, you know. Could have been my Shabbos could have been any time during the week. I could have come up with it better, right? Our Shabbos. Other person who stated it was going to start you then. Oh. I said, yeah, and I started walking back towards the door. So I thought for sure that's it. I was so sure that it was a mistake. So what are you doing in my office? Yet he hadn't hesitated to say something. So yeah. But you there? I started asking me questions. How many people were there, and what to do, and how it happened. And every time that I'm asking a question, I told it that I answered the question as quickly as I could, and I told it that I already wrote in a report. He didn't hear it. I said I wrote in a report. Like I didn't say it, you know. He asked another question. I answered that question. I already wrote in a report. Doesn't hear that. He asked another question. In the meantime, I'm there for 3 minutes already. I'm supposed to be out of there in a minute and a half. Flat. Bako, Miko, hell, in and out, you know. Whatever had a buzzer in his room. It worked two ways. When they ever wanted to have one in my skin, because the buzzer was in my skin and wanted to let somebody know that whatever was over their time, so you can press that button. The buzzer goes off. The buzzer goes off. I'm standing there, and I was asking the question, and I'm answering the question. The buzzer goes again. I want to get out of here already. I mean, I didn't ask for this, you know, and I'm not supposed to be taking up that other time. I don't want to take up that other time, you know. And I'm trying to, and I tell her that I wrote a report already. I'm trying to figure out a way to get out of here. Next thing I know is Rabbi Groner is opening the door and closing the door, opening the door and closing the door. Time for you to get out. Opening the door and closing the door, opening the door and closing the door. Opens the door, he stands on the side where going into Gedish HaKadoshim on the right side, but Rebbe was facing the other direction. So I could see him, but the Rebbe couldn't see him. He opens the door and looks at me. To make the short story long, I was in by the Rebbe for 7 minutes. At the end, the Rebbe asked me, is Ben Lechman to speak for him? I wanted to say an hour ago. So I said, Lechman's for him morning. For him in the Rebbe view. So it's like, aber als ich gesagt, after came to Zen, reinlegen in Zeitungen, was gewesen. Put in the newspaper what was happening in the States. After came to Zen, as an interview, the interview, the questions, they put it into the newspaper. The Rebbe was very interested to publicize the concept of Chabad, which we in California who were doing it, didn't even realize how dear this was to the Rebbe. So I go out and hear this after about 7 minutes, and the next morning, the only one that I knew that had anything to do with newspapers. What do I know about newspapers? I didn't know nothing about newspapers in California. In New York, I said, I know anything about a newspaper? I know nothing about a newspaper. Good news for the gamble. And everyone didn't. The one who was working in the newspapers was Rabbi Krinsky. So I tried to get to speak to Rabbi Krinsky, and there's still 1,000,001 articles on it, 108, you understand? And he's busy taking in separate, bringing out separate, and writing things, and taking things, and doing things, etc., etc. He has no time for me. Finally, I catch the guy, and I told him, listen, I was in my shoes, and this is what the Rebbe said. I don't know what you want to do with it. I don't know anything about Facebook. You can call me in California. I can give the interview over the telephone. But I got to catch a plane. So I'm going to the plane, and this week I watch it. If you want me to write something up over there, whatever you want. You tell me what I should do, and I'll do it. I'm going to the airport. I run outside. I get a taxi. I go to the airport. Sure enough, Baruch Hashem. Missed the plane by 5-10 minutes. Missed the plane. The plane gate closed. As I'm able to swoop in. No way. Missed the plane. Next plane leaves in 2.5 hours. So if I'd be a half normal human being, I would say don't rush out your kishkis. Stay in the airport and take the next plane. How could I waste 2 hours in the airport and go back to 770? I could spend another hour in 770. So I go with my chamadan, I take my suitcase, I go back out. At that time it wasn't even JFK, at that time it was Idlewild Airport, it was called earlier. I go out, I get a taxi, I come back to 770, I walk into 770 carrying my suitcase, and there's a tumult going on at 770. What's happening? There's a special yeshivas going on. For those that are going to learn in yeshivas, and for the shluchim that are still left. In the Rebbe's room. Special yeshivas. Boom! The suitcase went right down, right in the magnet room. Wham! I go right into the Rebbe's room. The door closes behind me. Last one in. The Rabbi was there. Another 5-10 shluchim that were screwing enough to remain after Shabbos gracious. Who stayed after Shabbos? This total there was about 25 shluchim. So by that time there was 35 shluchim maybe in the whole world. How many of them came in for Shabbos? Were there for Shabbos gracious? If anybody came in, they came for the most. They left before Shabbos gracious. Certainly left on Sunday. Certainly they left by Monday morning. Monday night they're not going to be sitting over there. So it was mamish shluchim. Between 5 and 10 guys, maybe the most. I don't even think there was that many guys. That was one of them. The Bachim that were going to different yeshivas to learn, that they had a special yeshivas. First, Dr. Lamed, the yeshivas is printed. What's printed is not exactly what the Rebbe said, obviously. Because what the Rebbe said, I don't think is going to print. What the Rebbe said, in essence, what I heard from the yeshivas, after rushing into the Rebbe's room, was in essence of how tired and how precious it is with this Sarachmones of divas are from bleiben da. That's what the Rebbe said in the Yeshiva. Sarachmones of divas are from bleiben da, which was music to my ears. You have to realize, after being told that I'm going to come back after 6 months maximum, and that the shluchah is only making the shluchah golden, and that I'm a shlemazel and chater shlemazel because I'm not only going in the shluchahs, I'm not even getting my own city, etc., states, and so on and so on and so forth. People are shlemazel, other shlemazel. So obviously, the Rebbe's words were something very, very special. And I realized why the Rebbe wanted me to put in the newspaper. I don't know if that ever was true, so he said they should get into the newspaper. But he was going to have this yeshivas. And he didn't want anybody to know that he was going to have this yeshivas. For whatever reason, it was quiet. Nobody knew he was going to have yeshivas for the shluchah. Maybe because he wanted most of the guys to leave. He didn't want them to have to stay over till Monday night. So he didn't let out. Aber gewollt just so yeah sein. So he figured, you told him he's got to do something. He'll not schlep it. He'll never get it. He won't leave it till he gets it done. It was so blind. Didn't take much for him to figure that one out. Right? That was it. And that was the catalyst. That was the reason for the Shabbos gracious to me became my yontif, personal yontif. because of the chiddush that took place with the Rebbe, because I personally did this, and then this is for the shluchim that took place with the Rebbe that followed Shabbos gracious. And from then on, if I possibly could make it, I went to Shabbos gracious. Then later on, when Taka, shluchis became not that it's Mazel that had to go on shluchis, but Taka, whatever wanted. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shluchim that can't come into Motzei or Baruch Hashem because they have their own places to be with them, and they don't have to be there. Shabbos gracious became yonted to a point that the Rebbe, Farbrengen, and Shabbos gracious, we washed before Shkia, Shabbos gracious, and Farbrengen into the night, and gave Tishko Bracha out, special for the shluchim that came to Shabbos gracious. 1 year, we made a special Farbrengen, a continuation of the Seder, and specifically because of the Archon, they couldn't come to the Seder. They came to Shabbos. To me, of course, Shabbos became a slight junk, putting it mildly. What I'd like to say is that we don't realize, we very seldom realize, what the effect is that the Rebbe has on the world. We don't know, we don't have an idea of what the effect is that shluchim have on the world. Not we don't have an idea, but I don't have an idea what kind of effect other shluchim have on the world. Each shliach doesn't have an idea of the effect that he has on the world. A few stories. My time is limited. I'll tell you a few stories of this.